step closer to targeted action. The US-South Africa Bilateral Relations Review Act of 2025, recently passed by the House Foreign Affairs Committee, now moves to the full US House of Representatives, where it is widely expected to pass. The bill paves the way for possible sanctions on senior ANC and government leaders under the Global Magnitsky Act, which allows the US to impose visa bans and freeze assets of foreign officials accused of serious human rights abuses or corruption.
It will usually be travel bans, freezing of assets and accounts, and making it difficult for them to do any business with not just the US but with the West generally. So those are the kind of sanctions that would affect them as individuals, nothing more than that.
If passed, ANC leaders would suffer the same fate as politicians in Zimbabwe and Rwanda who were sanctioned by the US. But it's still unclear which South African leaders would be targeted, although ANC top officials and party leaders implicated in corruption appear to be possible targets.
Now, if you speak about senior leaders of the ANC, of course you're talking about the top 7 of the ANC. That would include the president. The president, meaning that the president will be prevented from visiting the United States. The only place he can visit is New York because of the United Nations.
Pretoria's response so far has been measured, but analysts warn that Washington's hard-line stance could backfire and push South Africa closer to US rivals like China and Russia.
Such punitive measures can further isolate South Africa and push it to the hands of China and other players that will not augur well for the US at the end. The other thing it can do is to make them contrite and begin to take a much more respectful tone towards the US.
Experts say the bill is likely to pass, but that doesn't mean South Africa should give up on diplomacy.
Really serious diplomatic moves to try to reach out to both houses, the Senate and the House, to try to influence them not to go ahead with this vote. I don't think we still have enough time to do that. The problem is that we don't have enough diplomatic representation in the United States.
The ANC is now hoping that the Democratic Party, which historically opposed apartheid, will help block the bill. But analysts caution that political goodwill may not be enough to shield ANC leaders from potential US sanctions. For Newsroom Africa on Channel 405, I'm Conita Hunter.
Zikalala's defense of the ANC, exposing the US bill controversy. ANC Veterans League President Dr. Snooky Zikalala has strongly condemned a proposed US bill seeking to review bilateral ties with South Africa and impose sanctions on top ANC and government leaders, calling the move baseless. The bill, approved earlier this week by the US House Foreign Affairs Committee, cited South Africa's alignment with Russia and China, as well as its legal action against Israel at the International Court of Justice, ICJ, as key reasons for reassessing Washington's relationship with Pretoria. Committee Chairperson Brian Mast also pointed to South Africa's direct engagement with Hamas leaders as indicative of a growing rift between the two nations. The proposed legislation has sparked outrage within ANC circles and drawn criticism from some U.S. lawmakers. Zikalala dismissed the bill as an unwarranted attack on South Africa's principled support for the Palestinian cause. Those sanctions have no basis at all, especially on ANC leaders, Zikalala said. None of our leaders have been found wanting by the international community. The only reason we are being targeted is because we have stood firmly in support of the Palestinian people and taken Israel to the ICJ to answer for what we believe is genocide. Zikalala emphasized that South Africa's actions were consistent with its values and international law and were not aimed at undermining its relationship with the U.S. We believe in engagement. We think Pretoria and Washington can and must find each other. It's not in the interest of the American or South African people to escalate tensions, he added. The U.S. had taken a similar approach with Zimbabwe in the past, imposing sanctions that ultimately hurt ordinary citizens rather than the leadership. Zikalala also defended the ANC's internal accountability mechanisms, arguing that allegations of corruption within the party were being dealt with according to due process. We have made it clear, If anyone in the ANC is criminally charged, they must step down immediately. But our leadership has not been found guilty of wrongdoing internationally, he said. The proposed sanctions bill has also caused divisions within the U.S. Congress. Democratic Representative Gregory Meeks criticized the move, accusing Republicans of hypocrisy and undermining diplomatic norms. Despite the approval by the House committee, Zikalala expressed skepticism that the bill would ultimately pass into law. We don't think those sanctions will go through. This is not about wrongdoing. It's about standing up for human rights. We are not going to change our position. We say no to genocide, and we will continue to support the Palestinian cause, he said. The bill's progression comes amid escalating global criticism of Israel's military campaign in Gaza and mounting legal challenges in international courts. South Africa's ICJ case against Israel, accusing it of genocide, has positioned the country as a leading voice in the global south on issues of international justice and human rights. Meanwhile, ANC spokesperson Malenji Bengamotsiri asserted that the sanctions stemmed from what she characterized as propaganda campaigns orchestrated by right-wing extremist organizations between the two countries. President Cyril Ramaphosa has also called on the Democrats to protect them against the bill.